G'day guys, welcome to another episode of Fully Equipped. Kris, you're not in the room with me. There's a bit of a change here. You're in the room with two other people behind you with hairnets on.
Oh, buddy, we are live on location in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, for the Cognizant Classic,
Cool.
and trying to find a quiet place to sit down and jump on the pod with you and talk about gear and talk about news has been a little bit of a struggle bus this morning. So my friends back here, they are just insistent upon cleaning this room like no other. So I decided to, bring them on as special background guests,
Love it.
and after an hour of trying to bob and weave around what they were working on, I just said, "Is it? Can I sit here? Is that fine?" And they said yes, and then proceeded to just fill in behind me and rock and roll.
Just roll with it,
So here we
homie.
are.
Just roll with it,
Here we are.
homie.
We're rolling with it.
You
We're
got
rolling
this.
with it. We're going to do it live,
Otherwise, fuck it, we'll do it live. Otherwise, how you doing, man? How's life?
buddy. It's beautiful here. I mean, it is 70s and sunny, and went and did a little beach walk yesterday after the event wrapped up. Went and hung around on the tour trucks yesterday, and I mean, I gotta say the event down here compared to what we see at TPC Scottsdale is dramatically different, whole different vibe.
Just night
So,
and day,
but
just night and day. More about the golf than the party and what have you.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, PGA National and playing the bear trap. I went out and walked around the golf course a little bit on Monday, and it was kind of a rainy, quiet day. Not a lot of players in town yet. Not a lot of players on the course, and I mean, it just looks absolutely pristine. And I'm really curious getting into this event. I mean, is the bear trap even something that people worry about anymore? Is it a stretch of holes that people are like, oh man, this is the make or break it part of the round? Or for these guys going from what was the Honda and now the Cognizant, are they just they have their lines, they know how to play it. It's nothing that stresses them out at all. Because like 16 at TPC, people get amped up about it. They feed on it or they just fear it, one of the two. So I mean, does the bear trap still carry that kind of weight for these guys, or is it just another stretch of holes?
I think this is a perfect opportunity for you to walk the driving range and ask that question.
And ask that question.
Yeah,
And like, hey, are you stressed out about hitting it in the water coming down the stretch if you're
yeah,
in contention, which you've been swinging it like shit, so probably won't be. But what do you think?
maybe. But with the new
You
role
never
that
know.
you've got, this is a great way for you to answer those questions. Because hypothetically, my answer would always be yes, just because I think it's going to be a hard stretch of holes no matter what. But to your point, equipment's gotten so good nowadays, and people have gotten so good with their equipment. They know what's happening with their shots. The balls have gone up as well in regards to ability. That it wouldn't surprise me if that fear factor has come down quite a bit. But when you're in contention, that changes everything. It could just be an easy punch. Hi there. Could just be an easy punch, 100-yard shot in, and it could scare the crap out of them because they've never won before. They don't know how to win or certain things like that.
Yeah, I'm. This is the first time that I've been on property live, so being able to watch how these guys play these holes, it's going to be fun for me as a golf fan, just being up close and personal, and now with the opportunity working with golf, like I can go inside the ropes and I can walk with these groups and be within earshot of the conversation that they're having with their caddy on how they're kind of strategizing to navigate this stretch, or even like shots that they're considering hitting into the greens, hitting off the tee, lines that they're going to take. So I'm really anxious to have that opportunity and get to see what it is these guys do that kind of differentiates from maybe how I would play a hole or how you would play a hole or just think about scoring potential on some of these holes. Because man, I looking at the lines from some of the tee boxes here, I'm like, yeah, this is just a double waiting to happen. Oh yeah, that's a big number. Yeah, that's going to be a sad face or a WTF on the scorecard. Like, and these guys just come out here and rip through this place like it's nobody's business.
That would be
They're
really
so good.
that's a really good point. That'd be really fun. Like probably not a this year thing, but going into like 2026, maybe back half of 25, it'll be interesting if we can get out on the golf course before they go out and see what we can shoot and kind of just have a really cool video of us going there and seeing what it's all about and playing the different lines, seeing what they're doing, talking about different equipment that they might be using for different holes and how they can get there and what have you. Could be a really cool thing to do.
Well, I mean, I really think we should just start at Pebble and see
Yeah,
if we can take Rory's line over the tree there on the 14th, and
I'm not.
just yeah, see if it works out.
I'm not that guy, pal.
You and you, I don't know. Last time we played with that QI 35 LS, you were painting lines
I am
with
hitting
that
the.
driver.
I am hitting the shit out of that thing. I love it. I love that driver so much. The QI35 LS to me with the Ventus TR Red 6S shaft is incredible. To me, for me, it's so good, and I'm so surprised with how good it is. It's so much further than anything
Yeah,
else out
it's
there for me.
I was really impressed watching you hit that thing. But I mean, talking about gear changes, a lot of the guys coming from the West Coast swing, they played Torrey Pines and then went, oh, hello. Torrey Pines, then they went TPC Scottsdale, then they went back to Torrey Pines. And a lot of the gear changes that I'm seeing this week are more wedges and going through different grinds, different bounces, trying to kind of acclimate to the change in turf grass. And a lot of the journeymen that have been on tour for years and years and years pretty much know, okay, I go from just pulling a random number out of the air. Okay, I play an S grind with 10 degrees of bounce, and now I come out here to the East Coast and South Florida. There's a lot of sandy, loose soil. Going to go up and bounce a little bit. I'm going to play a slightly fuller sole, hit more shots with an open face, and use that bounce. And it's uh, it's kind of cool. Again, going around the practice green and also going out on the golf course and watching the creativity that some of these players have with their short game and with their wedges. And I just look in envy and wish that I could pull off some of the shots that these guys hit.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty. It's pretty interesting to see what they're going to go into. I think obviously it's handy having a tool truck there, so they can turn around and practice with whatever they want, and then that tool truck can build it for them. But is there a big difference in what they're going to and from the West Coast to go to the East Coast? Like, are you seeing 2 degrees of bounce? Are you seeing a lot more bounce? Like, are you seeing one spectrum from grind to the other, or is it kind of just it's a bit of a change, not a huge change, just a little bit of a change?
Yeah, I mean, like we've talked about in the past, like there's no industry standard for bounce, right? So a
Sure.
lot of these guys are making some subtle changes in the grinds and going on the truck it's on Tuesday, today's Wednesday, yesterday, watching all of the grinding wheels and just working on wedge shapes, working on sole grinds, and taking a little bit of material off, shaping the leading edge, shaping the trailing edge, getting the heel relief right. I mean, every truck that I went on was just humming with wedges. And I mean, that's pretty typical starting the Florida swing, right? It's just a totally different turf conditions, totally different types of grass. And these guys are just dialing in their bag for potentially the next couple of weeks. Like you've got Cognizant this week, and then we go up to Orlando and we'll be at the Arnold Palmer Invitational. And Bay Hill is a monster of a golf course. And then we go up to right into TPC Sawgrass. And that's I mean that's basically a elevated event that you'll see all of the marquee players playing. So this is an opportunity for some of the guys that may be playing TPC for the first time or Arnold Palmer for the first time to kind of dial in their bag and make sure that they're set up for Florida golf compared to what they had in California
And
or even Mexico.
and in the trucks that you're going in and out of, is there any grind that you're like that is wild? Like just a grind that you didn't think you'd ever see before, or is there anything out there where you're like, I didn't expect that kind of a player to use that kind of a grind or bounce?
It's I mean, it's kind of funny that you mentioned that. Like, they don't have names for 90% of the things that they're doing. Like, they'll literally have a caddy come in or the tour rep will come in and they'll just, oh yeah, I need to take a little bit more off the heel, or oh, I need to take some off the leading edge, or I need to take some off the trailing edge, or this particular player likes to hit more dead-handed shots with a way open face while they kind of lower the toe into the ground. So they're just over there grinding on the trailing edge and off the toe. And they intentionally hit just dead-handed shots off of the toe. And I'm going, yeah, I don't have that shot. And hey, you look at some of these wedges after they come off of the wheel, and it's just like, wow, like that's an aggressive angle. Or like, yeah, I've never seen anything, like that from a grind perspective, and it goes right in the bag. So names of grinds, who the hell knows?
But just aggressive grinds that you're like, wow.
Yeah, yeah. There's some stuff that some of these tour reps are doing where I'm just like, "Wow, that's really cool. I would like to attempt to hit a shot with that, but I don't know if I'm that guy."
That's funny. And then speaking of tour, we had was Campbell won over the weekend,
Hmm.
right, in a shootout, and I can't pronounce the South African guy's last name. Have you got it? Have you got it in your back pocket or no?
Not yet.
Not
Not
yet.
not off the cuff. Nope.
Okay. But that was a really interesting finish in the playoff. I thought, it was kind of cool. The cool storyline there was the juxtaposition between the two, one starting his career, one being a journeyman and never winning before. And then I thought it was a really nice touch at the end when Campbell and his caddy kind of went out and had a beer at the tree that pretty much not won but saved not losing the tournament for him.
Yeah, that was a make or break it kind of member bounce. Yeah, at this point, I kind of feel like they're doing it on purpose.
I think they are too, and it's totally fine. They just want to be part of the show, and it's fully equipped with Kris, Wade, and hairnets, the hairnet
Yeah,
duo.
and hairnets. Yeah, and the room that I'm in is a really good sized room, and they
Yeah,
have decided that they are just going to congregate like right behind me.
they are the
Obviously, looking over at the screen and seeing that I'm on camera, and they just want to hang out. They're
they are
just
the
curious,
they are
right?
the moths. You are the light. They are just drawn to you.
That's that's it. Yeah, that.
Kris, I'm cropping them out and making them the YouTube thumbnail for sure.
Actually, I can get out of the way if we want to get a better shot here. But yes, the YouTube thumbnail needs to include our new friends. I can get a cameo and go do some interviews after we wrap up here.
That's awesome.
But yeah, going back to oh, hello, yeah, going back to that tree, man, totally off the rails. That was a make it or break it moment, and I almost feel like he needs to get a plaque and dedicate it to that tree.
Yeah, but it was a pretty cool moment, I think, when he made the putt and you just saw how much it meant to them when he was in shock and awe of winning, and then it panned over to his partner, girlfriend, wife, whatever she is, and she's just on her knees in complete joy that he finally won. And I just, it was really cool to see. It was fun to watch. It wasn't the best golf on a Sunday. It was kind of weird how the first 3 days, all of them were tearing the golf course apart, and then it came on to Sunday, and everyone kind of just settled and was regressing back a little bit. Chipping was a bit hard for them. They're making a lot of big putts, which was great. But outside of that, you've got, but it was good to see someone new win on the tour. It was good to see a journeyman kind of get a card for the next 2 years in all the majors and all of that kind of stuff. And just really good for him in his career. You just love to see that kind of thing.
Oh, totally. And I mean, it was almost kind of like a David versus Goliath kind of thing from a speed and power and just distance perspective.
Wasn't he
It's
wasn't he cruising at like 193?
at the ball speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, insane, just insane. And like, I just can't. I can't. Oh my God. Uh,
I think my favorite
it,
part of this situation was the handoff of the mop.
the handoff, direct. I mean, it's like it was staged. I think they had a little meeting, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna get this guy. We're gonna get this guy. Oh, I got to give them the handle. Make sure they subscribe to the show, and yeah, they need to be a part. They need to make an appearance,
Yeah,
future episodes. But yeah, 193 miles an hour ball speed is just absolutely
wild.
insanely fast. And I mean, does that start to play a role into your approach when you are constantly when you're the journeyman, right? And you are hitting first on every hole, and here you have a long iron, a mid iron, potentially a hybrid or even a fairway wood in your hand, and you look 50 yards down the fairway and your competitor has mid iron or short iron. And does that start to grind on you? I mean,
I don't think so.
you
I
can
think I think that's the beauty of golf, right? I think the beauty of golf is that different people are good at different things, and you just got to keep playing your game. Like, can it get to you? Yes. Does it get to me sometimes when I see someone 20 yards ahead of me? Yes. But I think in this situation, you just got to keep, you're at the top of the leaderboard for a reason. He's hitting it.
Sure.
He's hitting it long, but you're at the same score. Just keep going. I think for him it was more probably the moment than anything puts the pressure on you versus what you're seeing someone be 50 yards ahead of you. But yeah, so I don't. For me, I don't think it would change my approach at all.
I there's a lot to think about there because I mean you had mentioned that the Sunday round they had been lighting it up on the golf course on the rest of the week, and then they roll into the final round and just everybody stopped making birdies.
Just stalled.
And yeah, I mean just completely stalled out. And you saw some shots and some mistakes that you didn't see earlier in the week. And yeah, is that a nerve thing? Did the game plan change? Because it didn't seem like there was any kind of environmental influence there. It wasn't windy, it wasn't raining, it wasn't. I mean, it was like perfect conditions.
Yeah, to me it felt like a nerve thing. I mean, neither of them had really been there before. One's pretty much a rookie, and the other one has just been on the Corn Ferry Tour for a little while, and he's in the running for the first time in a long time in a PGA event. You saw Aldrich's come in at the start of the round, and he had a couple of shot lead. He lost that lead. The nerves went away, and he bounced back and came back. Right, so it felt like a nerve thing to me versus anything else.
I
And he
I would
didn't
have
play
to
bad.
say
He didn't
the
play bad in the playoff either. Like he
no.
he was 2 inches away from a perfect 7-iron, 6-iron, whatever it was, into a par 5 that would have given him a 2-putt win.
Yeah, I mean it was right there, right there. But we went into extra holes, and it was cool playoff to see. And there was definitely, like you said, a lot of emotion behind that win, and a little bit of heartache. But and what kind of doors does that open for him, right? Like having that W, and that's one thing that just never ceases to amaze me. Like you have one good week of golf on the PGA Tour, and it is completely life changing.
Yep.
Like,
Well, I think he's in the Masters now, right?
yep,
And then he's gets a tour card for 2 years, so he can't go off. He's in the tour for the next 2 years, and I think he gets to go to all of the domestic majors, if I'm thinking correctly. For this year, it's life changing.
yeah. I mean, there is a lot of doors that just open for him, which
Yep.
is amazing. And that's the dream of being on tour, right? It's all you need is four good rounds of golf, and your life is completely changed.
Yep.
So, and
Go, mate.
I was going to say, just good on him. It's great to see, and like you said, a new face on the PGA Tour winner circle is always good to see.
Yeah, no, I'm stoked for him. But speaking of the PGA Tour, there's a rumor out there about Mr. DeChambeau, a last name that I can pronounce. There's a little bit of a query of his live contract extension. You said you got an alert late last night about it.
Yeah, I've been seeing a couple posts pop off, and it's breaking news. It's all bolded and italicized and exclamation points. A couple of different social channels popped off. With Bryson DeChambeau has not agreed to an extension with his live contract, expected to rejoin the PGA Tour after this season, and then we were kind of talking before we jumped online, and it's like, oh, Bryson's live contract is through the end of 2026. So it's like, yeah, we probably aren't going to see Bryson tee it up on the PGA Tour as a full-time roster member until at least 27.
Unless there's
And
some kind of a merger.
yeah, I was going to say unless that merger finally gets pushed across the finish line, and we see a reunited front line of the best players in the world. Because I mean, I'm going to be honest, man, I miss the personalities on the PGA Tour that have gone over to live, and I miss watching my favorite players tee it up every week. And I mean, trying to tune in and watch live golf, it's just not the same. And I like the PGA Tour atmosphere. I like seeing the best players of the world tee it up against each other every week. And I feel like Liv took the majority of those personalities. And I know we've talked about this before, but I really, really hope for golf that this merger happens and we get to see some of our personalities back on the big tour.
I'm right there with you. I miss watching certain players battle, and I miss like
Yeah.
I would love to obviously Scheffler's the number one in the world, but if Koepka's on the tour, if Rahm's on the tour, if DeChambeau's on the tour, go down the list of all the top players that went over to LIV.
Yeah.
Like Cam Smith, is he this dominant? You know what I mean? Like, and what do those battles look like? It's just the drama and the stories doesn't feel like it's there anymore either.
No, I totally agree. And I mean, there's a half a dozen or more guys that are over on Live that if you put them back in the mix every week in the PGA Tour, it's like, does Scheffler win as much as he does?
Right.
And do we see some of the new young guns come up and get their first wins with some of the big guns that we have come to know and love over the years back in the mix on tour? It's like you don't hear anything about Dustin Johnson anymore. And I mean, before he went to Live, he was a dominant force pretty regularly out on the PGA Tour.
Where
And
he
like
just
to your
left.
point, same thing with Koepka. It's like
Right.
any major, you always had to watch out for Brooks because I mean he was in contention. He was just a major championship
Monster.
player. Like, oh yeah, it's major week. Yeah, Brooks is in the mix.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, DJ and TaylorMade parted ways a couple of weeks ago, and it really didn't make that much news, right?
Yeah, and he was their marquee player for years
A
and years
long
and years.
time.
But I mean, they have Scotty Scheffler. They have the number one player in the world, and Scotty is a machine out on the PGA Tour, and he's just so steady. Like,
He is. He's
doesn't have to
awesome.
hit it great, and he still
Nope.
wins. Like,
But he's really fun to watch, though. I think that's the beauty of it. He's fun to watch because he makes mistakes, and then he rebounds from those mistakes. Where
yeah, I,
Arberg, where the juxtaposition between him and Arberg, as I said last week, kind of feels like Ivan Drago built in a workshop. And you put the two next to each other, and he just doesn't make many mistakes,
no, that's an understatement. Not a lot of mistakes to be made there. Uh, I even as good as Scheffler is, there's not the flair, there's not the high risk, high reward hero shots that a lot of for lack of a better description, like some of the heels or the personalities or bad boys on tour would pull off. I mean, that was one thing that I really loved about watching PGA Tour golf was you never knew when somebody was just going to pop off and say something crazy or start just beating themselves up. Like I used to love when Justin Thomas would, sorry, Justin, would hit a bad shot and then he would have a hot mic incident and just start belittling himself and then go and rattle off three birdies in a row. And it's just like, yeah, see, that's a little drama. That's some fire. That's fun. That's entertaining. And I mean, Dustin Johnson would do the same thing. Like he would hit a couple of the most absolute worst golf shots in the world and then rattle off three or four in a row and be right back in.
Yep. He's
And it was
the
like,
definition of a
didn't even
goldfish.
bother.
Nope, he's the definition of a goldfish.
100%. 100%. And that's
And
that's a
then
whole nother conversation.
100%. And then I know you're in Florida, and it's turning into a weekly segment, but Jackie Boy is also in Florida as well. Old mate Jackie Boy, and he's there for
He
the
is.
Maxfly forged XC2 and XC3 irons to check those out. I think you've got to spend some time with him and talk through that with him. So what's going on there with these new Maxfly forged irons that they're bringing out?
Yeah, Maxfly actually hosted him and a whole group of industry professionals down to unveil new XC2 and 3, like you had mentioned. And they actually built everyone some irons to go play, took them out, hosted them for some golf, got to test a new golf ball and test a lot of the new Maxfly product. And Jack was very, very pleasantly surprised in how good the irons were. So
Hmm.
he was hitting both of the new irons. Let me see, and he got a set of the XC2s, which he said the feel and feedback on them was really, really solid and long.
Hmm.
So had that feel of more of a traditional club, but he said that they were really, really hot off the face and surprisingly forgiving.
Are
So
we allowed to talk
he
about looks? Are we allowed to talk about looks,
what's
or
that?
are we allowed to talk about the looks of the irons, or are they under embargo still?
No, he posted them on fully equipped social channels. So if
Oh, he
anybody's
did. Cool.
curious, check out Jack's post on our social handle there,
Yeah,
and he's got a little bit of video and some voiceover talking about the new Maxfly irons.
yeah, because he sent you and I a photo in a group text, and to me it looked like a T150 from Titleist and a Blueprint had a child with each other.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. That's a pretty accurate representation if all of the listeners can visualize that mashup of Blueprint. I'd say Blueprint S and
Yeah,
the Titleist T series having a love child, and here you have Maxfly XC2.
this is what
Oh, he
happens
was
when Ping and Titleist marry each other. They have a Max Fly.
they have a Maxfly. Yeah. He was telling me that some of the technology that they've incorporated into this iron design is a ceramic material inside of the cavity of the irons.
Hmm.
So I thought that was really curious. I definitely want more information on that. Jack was grabbing an interview with a couple of members of their team this morning, so I will follow up with Jack later today and get more information because that definitely has follow-up questions brewing in my brain because I'm thinking ceramic material versus a lot of the elastomers and polymers and things like that that some of the other OEMs are using in their players' distance irons, and I'm going, ceramic. That's different. I want to know more.
Yeah. Is this something that he would game? Like, is he enjoying it enough to where he would put it into the conversation about something to game, or is this more of a really cool concept, really cool thing, but not for me?
Yeah, he said really good quality iron, but he doesn't think that he's going to put it in his bag because, to quote Jack, he said they just go too far.
Sure.
So
Which is
he said that
hilarious
he would
because he
have
wants.
to,
It's hilarious you say that because
right?
he wants to do speed training. He texted me. He's like, I think I want to do speed training.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't need to do speed training. Just play the new Maxfly iron and you're there. Like, you want an extra club and a half a distance? Here you go. Now you need six wedges and just rock and roll. Six wedges, be that guy, and you'll be fine.
But too far for him. But felt really great. Quality's really good. If someone's looking for extra punch and distance because they may have lost some speed, this could be a really great iron for him. Is basically what he's saying.
Correct. And I mean, not and the price point on it. I want to say he said they were coming out in that 999 price point. So like our friends over at New Level, there's a lot of tech, good quality, and a good opportunity to get into a great piece of technology and a great quality product at a less than super premium price, like you see from some of our other OEM friends.
I feel like there's a lot of brands coming out in that category that are wanting to work outside of the D2C space as well. Like you've got Maxfly now, like you said. We've got our buddies at New Level, which I think is a great iron as well. And then, Hayward Golf as well. Hayward Golf is around that price point as well. And they're fully forged. They've got, players distance as well in their lines. And they've got woods now too. But it's definitely interesting to see that there's a lot more of these brands coming out that's trying to hit that price point where a Takamo is, or a sub 70 Golf, et cetera, et cetera. But
Right.
they're wanting to be in our world, not just in the D2C world.
Oh, for sure. And like when we were down at the PGA show and we're wandering around and we see McGregor and we see Powerbuilt
Yep.
and we see Ben Hogan, and it's like that's nostalgic brands for me that I grew up with. Like, man, I wish one day I'm going to be good enough to play a set of Hogans, or you look at the McGregors and it's like the McGregor blades and the cavity back or like kind of CB type of irons. Like, man, they are just beautiful, beautiful irons and something that I aspire to be able to play one day. And then they went away. And now, fast forward 2025, they're making a comeback and they're all basically like owned by one company now. And you have an opportunity to get some of these nostalgic brands that I aspired to play many, many moons ago, and I'm probably still not good enough to play them, but I'm going to reach out to the guys at McGregor and just go, hey, love to do some testing with your product, and
Yeah.
any chance I can get a set of irons? Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Speaking of testing, one question for you before we wrap it up. So it's nearly March. We're nearly through the first quarter of the year, which is wild that we're nearly through the first quarter of the year. Let's talk driver really quickly. Which driver in 2025 has surprised you the most in regards to you just didn't think it was going to be that good?
Man, driver that surprised me the most. That's put me on the spot. There's
I know, I'm sorry.
there's
It
a lot
just
of
came to me.
good things. I would say, I mean, probably, man, it's being a gearhead, there's so many different categories. I mean, overall, surprised me the most. I thought QI10 was a huge improvement over what they had in the Stealth 2 product. And then QI35 is even a big step over what they had in QI10. So, and if I had to pick one, if I was on the spot, most improved for 2025, I would probably say QI35 has
So
been
most
kind of
improved or biggest? Most improved or biggest
what's that?
leap? Most improved or biggest leap?
Both,
Both.
just model to model. Yeah. But I mean, then you've got, I'm going to bounce around. I mean, the stability and the G440 line at LST is a monster. I mean, Titleist, the GT product is good. New face tech from Callaway and the Elite. I mean, that's the thing. Like as a gear fan,
Yeah.
I find good qualities in everything. And
Sure.
I mean, there are multiple products that I could go and I could put in my bag and play good, successful golf with. So, like me personally, QI35, I'm still trying to work through a shaft and head combination that works for me, as I just don't spin it enough, but I see it work for so many people. And I'm jealous of the fact that I can't, yeah, exactly, you. And I'm jealous of the fact that I can't just throw it together and it's just like, boop, immediately in my bag. And same thing with the elite product. Like I'm still trying to find the shaft and head combination and weighting and model head between the core head or the triple diamond. And I haven't had an opportunity to get my hands on a triple diamond max yet. As that triple diamond max from the AI smoke, as soon as I put that together, that was like the heavens opened up and it was, the perfect combination for me. And I absolutely love that driver. Um, and then going into the GT, like I see some of my fastest ball speeds with GT, and then I hit more fairways than I do with any other product when I test the 440. And it's like name of the game is control and consistency and scoring potential. And I mean that G440 for me is just a absolute fairway finder. I spin it more than anything else, so I have more control with it. But it's like me personally, man, I don't know where I'm gonna land yet, but most impressive product or biggest improvement over previous generation, I would say thus far from what I've seen, still kind of early, is QI35 over what they had in QI10.
Nice. I like it. You
That was
jumped
a
around a lot,
very
but I like that you came
long-winded
back to
answer.
it. It's all good. We got
That's
there though, homie.
I can't. That's like when somebody asks me what my favorite movie is or what my favorite golf course is. It's like, oh, holy crap! Like, I would have to go by. I just can't. I can't compartmentalize my
I get
favorite
it.
things into one. I just can't
I
do
get
it.
it. I get it. I get it. That's why I kind of wanted to put you on the spot there because it was a full-on organic answer from you, and I love it.
Yeah, I that's being in a brand agnostic world, man. You get to test everything with so many different types of players, and you see products perform well for everybody, right? So it's like, I can't hit this driver to save my life, but the five people that I just worked with last week, it worked for three out of the five of them, and I can't keep it on the planet. And then it's like, man, I absolutely killed this product. And then I put it into a fitting environment, and it's like, wow, am I the only person that hits this well? Like, what the hell? No, it never ceases to amaze me. Like some of the stuff that works for some players doesn't work for other players, and then the OEM may categorize it as this is a high launch, low spin product, and then you put it into this guy's hand, and he hits it higher and spins it more than any other product out there, and you just go, huh, didn't see that coming. Doesn't work on paper, but this guy's killing it.
That's the beauty of golf, right? And that's the beauty of changing equipment and
So
trying equipment.
that's why we test.
That's why we test. That's why people like you are around. So that at 8 o'clock at night, I can text you and go, what do you think about this? What if I do this? What if I change
Right.
the claw grip? What does that mean?
These are the things that keep us up at night, right? And man, speaking of, not to jump onto another tangent, but here we go. Uh, I had been toying and tinkering with some putters, and you and I had been talking about dialing in your bag for your quest to get to scratch. And you sent me a picture and posted like we've got some testing to do with
We've got some testing
your
to do.
slew of putters,
And that's only
and
half of them too.
that's only half of them. Good God. I've been going back and forth between a Bentinardi and the new Spider, and playing both of them at the counterbalance 37.5, 38 inch, trying to push it up close to that 400-gram head weight. And out on tour, I found a prototype Betty that I absolutely fell in love with, and rolled it a few times, kind of against the protocol. Don't tell anybody. Rolled it a few times, and this counterbalanced antidote that they had out here on tour, I just absolutely loved. So I reached out to some of the friends that I have at Bentinardi and was like, hey, I absolutely love this thing. I really want to get one made. Like, here, take my money. And long story short, after a few email exchanges and some talks, come down here to Florida and over on Scotty G's truck, and tour rep from Bentinardi was like, "Oh, hey, you're the guy," and hands me the putter that I
So
fell in love
cool.
with. So
That's so cool. That's the one you
I have
sent
to
me
say that
Is that the one you sent me pictures
yes,
of? The red one?
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
the red one, and it is awesome. Like it's probably the coolest putter that I have personally ever owned, and I'm anxiously awaiting to get that out on the golf course. Hopefully later this week I'll get out and have an opportunity to play and and break it in. But man, it is so cool looking. I'm gonna have to post some pictures on our social channel, and then I
Yeah, I think
also had posted a video testing the new 3DP Tour irons from Cobra, and had a set, had them built up, built them with the wrong shafts. I was experimenting again, ripped them apart, and Mike Yagley over at Cobra had them rebuilt for me, and they have uh, they have found their way into the bag, and awesome, awesome clubs. The consistency that I saw in them when I was doing some testing, like I had 35 shots banked, and I pull up the data table on Foresight, and I'm going, holy shit, like mile-and-a-half-hour difference in ball speed coming off the face. It was like 3 yards difference in carry. It was like 260 RPMs of spin on the Delta. I'm going, yep, okay, these are legit.
they're so good, man. Like I can't stress enough how good they are. My last 3 rounds with them have been 73, 73, 71. And they are just so consistent, and I love them. And I can't wait to see whether they make your bag or not, because I know you love your ping combo set. and it's going to be hard to dethrone them for you. But I don't know. There's something about that iron that just exudes confidence with me.
I mean, I've had good luck with the Titleist irons, with the Ping irons. Now these Cobra irons, I weakened them a little bit just to get it spin where I wanted it, and I weakened them 1 degree, and that was all it took. I'm having some really, really good results with them. I've got probably half a dozen rounds in with them now, and really like them.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's really, really cool. I was just back on the Bettinardi thing just really quickly. It might be time for you to convert, homie. It might be time for you to sell that collection of swag and become a Bettinardi collector, especially with just how much they take care of you.
I was talking with Joel and Dan over at Bettinardi. Talked to Sam a little bit. Sam wants to come on the podcast with us and do an interview and spend some time with us on Fully Equipped, talking about all things Bettinardi. And I think we need to make that happen. I think we need to get Sam on the pod.
Why don't we go to Chicago and go to Bettinardi in Chicago and have a day out there and do an interview over there and kind of go through their facility?
Already planning on doing it this summer. You want to tag along? You want to go with?
Hell yeah.
I mean, that's already in the works for Jack and I in May. So
it's gonna be
if Wadeh wants to jump in,
yeah, I'll do it.
What's that, Coach? Coach, you coming too?
Chicago, May? Oh yeah,
yeah. We'll just get the crew up there. I mean, that sounds like a good time to me.
We'll just make it a family affair. I would love to see Marky Mark out in the wild. We'll take you to the Bean.
To the Bean, yes.
We'll get some deep dish pizza. But yeah,
anyway, that's all I've got this week, my friend.
You've got to get going. You've got to go to the Cognizant event, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, mate. Well, have fun. Always a pleasure. We're doing this via satellite versus seeing you across the road from me. I think we did all right. We didn't cut each other off too many times, waiting for that lag of satellite. But otherwise, really good talking with you, mate. Have a great trip over in Florida. Miss you over here, and can't wait to keep getting those text messages, homie.
Yeah, buddy. I'm gonna go find me some Florida man today. That's the plan.
Can you do us a favor? Can you please post a picture on Instagram with the hairnet crew?
With the hairnet crew, they packed it in. I saw them out front waiting for their ride, like right outside the window. I wanted to turn the camera around and wave goodbye and thanks for the cameo. But no, we'll catch them tomorrow. I'll see if I can track them down and get a selfie with them.
All right, mate. Well, be safe and have fun in Florida, and I'll speak to you soon.
Sounds good, fellas. We'll see you.
Peace.